Welcome to Decades of Horror, the 1970s.
She is a sad, romantic woman. She will fall in love with me. Then I will sacrifice her on the next full moon.
This is episode 168, recorded July 20th of 2022.
Gruesome Magazine.
I am your host, Doc Rodden, and this is a podcast about horror films released between 1970 and 1979.
That was a cool Elvis thing there, Doc.
There you go.
22.
Each episode, my co-host, Jeff Mohr, Chad Hunt, Bill Mulligan, and I will take a look at we'll tackle another classic or not so classic film from this wondrous, groovy, gory, and influential decade. Joining me this week is my co-host, Jeff Mohr. Jeff, how are you doing, sir? You see how easy I'm distracted.
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. So
doing great. He's doing great, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Also joining us is Mr. North Carolina of two. It's Bill Mulligan, writer, director, special effects guru, and all around a nice guy, as well as what are you?
A masked wrestler who fights crime at night, and this is my manager, El Gizmo.
El Gizmo. He's a luchador.
Yes.
All right. Also joining us is Chad, comic artist and co-host of Decades of Horror, all of them. The classic era, the 70s and the 80s. How you doing, sir?
It's clobbering time.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I don't know what happened to Jeff Mohr. There he is. Welcome back, Jeff. All right. The wonders of recording this just live and doing it. All right. We are here. If you can't figure it out, we're doing one of the Santo films. Santo and the Blue Demon versus Dracula and the Wolfman. Original title. I love the original title because it's easy for me to do. Yeah. Santo y Blue Demon versus Dracula y el Hombre Lobo. And I can do that.
Very good.
Yeah, we're going to get into this. And I'm looking forward to this. This is the first luchador film I've seen all the way through.
Really?
And of course,
we're going to have fun with you.
So this was, I've been waiting for this. I've been waiting to do this. I don't really know what to say about it all, but it happened. But let's get into it, shall we? We hope you, let's just look at the card. That's not the card. Let's look at this one. Santo and the Blue Demon versus Dracula and the Wolfman from 1973, directed by Manuel M. Delgado, written by Alfredo Salazar. The cast is Santo, Blue Demon, Aldo Monte, Agustin Martinez Salares, Nubia Marti, Maria Eugenia San Martin, Alfredo Wally, Baron Jorge Moondragon. I'm going to call him Moondragon because, well, there's a Marvel thing. And Lourdes Batista.
Very nice.
July 26, 1973 in Mexico. Don't know when it came to the States. And Jeff, sir, you volunteered to do the synopsis?
Yes. It's rather long, but I really like the setup in case anybody listening hasn't seen any of these. Masked wrestling champion and occasional crime fighter El Santo once again saves Mexico from the ravages of undying monsters in this blend of grappling and horror. While the great fighter is busy in the ring, two legendary monsters, the vampire Dracula and a werewolf named Rufus Rex, are brought back to life by his enemies. As the monsters roam free and threaten the life of El Santo's closest friends, he teams up with fellow wrestling icon Blue Demon to vanquish the creatures once and for all.
Yes, indeed. All right. Well, this is going to be exciting. We're going to start off by when did we first see this and what was our first impression? Who chose this? Who chose it? Jeff did. Jeff, you are going first, sir.
Okay.
So pregnant pause.
Yeah. To make a short story long, in classic era, we always talk about foreign films or international films, but we'd much rather see them in the original language with subtitles so that you get the actors' emotions, etc. So I put off I had learned about all these Santo movies out with English dubbing, and I was kind of putting off watching them until I could find something in Spanish. But one of our listeners, and I'll double check here later, but I think it was Scott, had written in and said he discovered those after listening to our podcast, and could we please do this one so he could have another excuse to watch this fun flick. In the meantime, I watched it on Tubi, and I thought it was great. I just thought it was great. We have done 2 on Classic Era. We did Santo and Blue Demon versus the monsters, and we did Santo versus the zombies. And Joseph Perry actually introduced me to this. I think he picked, didn't he, Chad?
I think so, yeah.
Versus the monsters. And it took me a bit to get used to it, because you're not going to see a good movie, but you're going to have a heck of a lot of fun, I think. At least I did. So anyway, that's why I picked it. And I liked it so much that I had to go do this.
Oh, look at that.
This is the 8-movie box set.
Oh,
all
wow.
of them dubbed in English, so who knows? But I couldn't help myself. Joseph, you created a monster. So I love this. I love it. It's so cheesy and actually in this case, the dubbing, I don't know if it makes it better or not, but that's part of the entertainment. It's so bad. They went so far to try to match the dubbing to the person lips moving that it makes no sense at all. They just say things to fill gaps for no reason. And I always love, Santo always has these gadgets. There's one where he has a time machine. The one that we watched, he has like a video scope that they talk back and forth. And this one, he's got his magic watch that he invented, the transmitter watch. So
there's much
cool
more
stuff.
money in wrestling than there is science.
Yeah,
that is the truth. That is the truth.
Yeah, and you always get a couple of wrestling matches, and I don't know, it's just fun. I loved it. This is actually the Wolfman. I thought wasn't bad. If you watch Santo and Blue Demon versus the monsters, those creatures are really bad. There's like there's a version of Frankenstein that's just it's ridiculous. Anyway, I'll stop there. I just thought it was time we had to do one of these for the 70s.
I'm glad we are. I'm glad there's 50, at least 52 of these films with him in it. That's
this guy. I don't think it's possible for us to understand how big of a figure he is in Mexico.
All right, that'd be interesting.
Huge.
Speaking of a big figure, let's welcome Bill Mulligan. When did you first see this film, and what was your first impression?
When did I first see Gizmo, when did I first see this film? Yesterday. Yes. I'm familiar with Santo because they used to show, and I prefer the older ones like Santo in the Wax Museum or Santo versus the Vampire Women, which is actually really good, the black and white ones. You can see the budget started going down as they got into the 60s and 70s. But still, just a lot of fun. I'm a big wrestling fan, not modern wrestling, but old school wrestling from back in the day. And I like any creator who lives the role. And you can't live the role more than what these guys did. They, he never took his mask off in public except for once. They're buried in their mask. He committed to this, really committed to it. And that's great. And yeah, he's an icon. I mean, the character is like a combination. He's Tony Stark and Captain America put together. And yet they're in this crazy universe where no one questions the fact that these guys just wear masks. I'll be willing to bet his driver's license had a picture of him in the mask. I'm being dead serious that no one would even dare ask him to take it off. It's like, well, yeah, it's El Santo. It's everyone just embraces it. The only thing that's close to it is Charlie McCarthy and Edgar Bergen, where everyone throughout their entire history of their lives pretended that Charlie McCarthy was a real person in the movies, in real life, everything. Nobody sent this guy to an asylum just because he had a separate bed for his little wooden dummy. It's incredible. And yeah, you're watching these movies and they're just playing chess with their masks on, going to sleep with their masks on. He kisses his girlfriend who has never seen his face ever. He showers with that mask on. If someone snuck in there while he was showering, they'd get the crap beaten out of him, but they'd catch him with his mask on and nothing else. Amazing. You gotta love that. You gotta love that. These movies are just they are cheesy. They're in the middle of it opens with a wrestling match and ends with a wrestling match that has nothing to do with anything. But that's the way it is. It's like watching Indian movies where they'll just stop and sing a song. That's what we do. That's the rules. So yeah, they're fascinating.
It is kind of the rules.
Those are the rules. Chad, sir. Chad.
Yes, sir. What?
When, sir, did you first see Santo and Blue Demon versus Dracula and the Wolfman?
This particular one, I just over the last couple of days I've watched it. I watched the first half yesterday and finished it up today, and I must say. I quite enjoyed this film. It is the production value seemed to be a little better than ones previous Santos movies I've seen. It's in color, and the picture quality is very good too. You can see everything that's going on. But yes, you've got two guys that were I guess that at their time they would have been almost like Kiss were the band when they first started. No one ever saw their face and no one knew what they looked like. And everywhere they would appear in public, they had their makeup on. This is kind of like that too. Luchadors are so cool and so absurd at the same time. The movies are anyway, that you just have to love them. If you've got to be a fan like a 10-year-old would be a fan. And you just dig the wrestling, you dig the monsters, and it's just a lot of cool stuff crammed into one little. And it's silly and it's crazy and stuff like that. But it's just one of those things that you either really like them or you really really hate them. So I've always liked these, and ever since we first started covering them on Classic Era, and it continues with this one. Had a blast watching it.
Yeah, as I said in the opening, this was my first. I've been wanting to watch. I've seen little bits and pieces, and I'm very familiar with them, read about them, but I've never taken the time to watch them. I've always wanted to, but always been waiting to do it. Ever since Santos and I started Decades Horror 1970s, back in 2014, we talked about doing this. We never got the chance. I'm sad about that, but so this is finally happening, and I watch it Saturday. My son comes over and watches it with me because he says, next time you watch a really bad movie, let me know. I said, well, I'm going to watch this one. It looks like it could be a really bad movie. So he comes over and he puts his clothes in the wash because that's what they do when they move out. They come over and watch it. Anyway, so we sit and watch it. He loved it. He absolutely loved it. He didn't know anything about him, and it went in cold as could be. Thought it was the dumbest but funnest thing ever. But he loves the bad. The worse the movie is, the more he likes it. He loves bad movies. And I was okay. It does take a very special mindset to be in to enjoy these movies because they are campy. They are silly. They're kind of like, what are we really doing here? And I was a little put off at first by the wrestling. I will admit. I was a little put off because the announcer was so bad.
Yeah, absolutely.
The announcer's so bad, and I was just like, "Oh, this is awful." By the end of it, though, I was totally in. I was sold. Once they are fighting over the pit of stakes, oh my God! I mean, and before that, leading up to that, I was just like, "This is fantastic." I love this. Yeah, I had a great time with it. Let's put it that way. I had to warm up. I had to kind of get into the groove and figure out how to. It is an acquired taste. You have to learn how to watch these movies. You have to know, where you put your expectations and how you you just gotta throw a lot aside.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's some really stupid stuff going on, but at the same time, it's like, man, I wish they kept making them. I wish we had these now.
Yeah.
You know, can you imagine what they would do if they were like really popular and and instead of Fast 10, we got Fast Santo, and, and stuff like that, and they were doing all these crazy stunts, with all these crazy budgets. It would be amazing.
Doc, doesn't it seem obvious? I mean, with wrestlers as popular as they are now, why the WWE never bothered to try to? It would probably be terrible, but that's all right. That wouldn't stop them. Make a movie about wrestlers who fight crime and everything using the wrestlers they have. I'd kill to see Mick Foley and Kane and The Undertaker and all these guys, fighting crime as wrestlers. Just insane, staying in character the whole time. It seems like a no-brainer.
Yeah, we actually need like a band of international wrestlers. So you got your luchador, you got your sumo, you got your American wrestler, right?
Yeah.
And then they now that
the Justice League of Wrestling.
Okay. We're gonna copyright that. All right, so
somebody somewhere with a lot more money than we do.
They're way
that wouldn't take much money.
Yeah, like they're watching this. But anyway, all right. So let's get into this because there's a lot. We got a lot of photos, so I want to get into the photos because they're fun. Jeff, where did this come from? This looks new. So it's like a DVD, obviously.
It's Someone said it looked like a box of cereal, and
Yeah,
I would buy this cereal. I don't care what it tastes like.
That's a box of cereal.
Santos. Yeah.
Santos.
It would be like little corn wrestling belts.
The picture of Santo is the one they use on the cover of this, too.
It is.
Yeah.
And the picture of Dracula and the Wolfman is fantastic. I'm just saying.
Look at little Paul Nashi.
Well, he's like a little, And then there's this one.
Okay. That looks like a were-cat. And that's some interesting art there.
Obviously a little artistic license here.
A little.
Very little artistic license.
Now this is the classic one.
That's the classic one. Yeah.
And I love the painting. I love it. That's just that it's a painting one.
Yeah.
And it's got that 70s, shots of you either get shots from the movie or you got shots of the cast, right? The cast would be like along the bottom, or and this one, of course.
I will say, if you look at and I have a shot where we have a bunch of the posters. Some of these Mexican wrestling posters are terrific. If I owned a bar, that would be the theme. We'd have nothing but luchador posters because they're bright, they're garish, they're colorful. They're just a whole lot of fun. Kind of straddling the line between comic book and Universal style monster movie stuff. Just great.
And I love the way they painted Dracula and the Wolfman, but where they're all red, just like single color, monochrome, right? Is that what it's called, Jeff?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Jeff.
And pictures down the side there too.
All right, all right. So there he is. Now, what's the story about the bottom one?
Okay, so to show you just how he is still remembered. I mean, he died a long time ago, and his movies are not exactly shown on TV all the time. But if you watch the movie Coco, the Pixar movie Coco, which my wife does on a weekly basis, it's a great movie. But if she says, "What do you want to watch?" If I don't come up with an answer real fast, it's either going to be Birdcage or Coco. And there's a scene in Coco where El Santo, and I do not remember the name of the actress, but she's also very famous, show up, and everybody knows who they are. And that was just a nice little gift to the Spanish-speaking audience, who of course would know this. And yet I've gone to conventions where someone was dressed up in a picture-perfect Santo costume, and no one knew who he was. And I went up and I was like, El Santo, and he was so happy to have somebody recognize just how well he did it. So he's still huge in Mexico.
Yeah. Here's a bunch of other posters from other movies, right?
Look at those posters. They're fun. Yeah, good stuff. He just made so many. I mean, what we said, 52? When they talk about the longest running series.
I was thinking about that as I was looking this stuff up. I've seen posts online and media about that. I don't know, is Jerry involved in that, or I can't remember who was.
It would make sense.
Probably. I would think.
The longest number of recurring character movies or something like that. This has got to be.
And he's the same character in all of them. He's Santo. He wrestles, and then when he's not wrestling, he's putting bad guys in jail and stopping Nazi spies and fighting monsters. I just want to say, when did he die? It was like 1984 or something.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah. I just want to say, the world has gone to hell in a handbasket ever since.
Well, the 70s weren't all that great, but anyway, I mean, they were. But
they had a comic book series.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, he's like a superhero before superhero movies became popular.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there is. So you were talking about never takes his mask off.
Yes, but right before he died, he was on a talk show wearing his mask, and just out of nowhere, he took it and lifted it up, and then put it right back on again. And about a week or two later, he passed away. He was buried in his mask. The funeral was attended by thousands, and I believe that statue is over his grave. And when he took his mask, you realize one reason why he kept the mask on. He looked like every other guy you might run into down in Mexico. There was nothing special. He was just a guy, but with that mask on, he was El Santo.
Yeah. Well, for the luchador and mascarados, it was a big deal to never take their mask off and never reveal their real name.
Yeah.
What's a mascarado?
What's that?
Ones who wear masks.
Yeah, masked professional wrestlers.
Oh, okay. So it's the same thing as a luchador. Okay.
Yeah, but they're special. They're
luchadors
special
are just
case.
Wrestlers. Yeah, they're the masked wrestlers or mascarados.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a special thing about the mask. I mean, if you don't have a mask on, you're just like El Hippie or whoever that one guy was. It's just an
El Hippie. El Hippie was.
Well,
the mask is a big deal.
Chad, I don't know if you read about it either, but those grudge matches where they had the mask versus mask and mask versus hair and that kind of thing, those were apparently determined by if you fought another wrestler with a mask, you could do your own private wager, and whoever lost had to take their mask off and reveal their name.
Yeah, they did that.
That's how he got really famous, because he beat, I think it was the Black Shadow in the early 50s. And that's when he became sort of king of the hill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That stuff is so cool.
So here's the Blue Demon. Looking pretty dapper there at the bottom.
I think Blue Demon, I think this sounds sacrilegious, but I think Blue Demon was actually a better wrestler than Santo in terms of technical expert, a little more high flying. I mean, Santo, there's different schools of thought. And if you're watching this movie, you might think these guys are not doing any Rey Mysterio stuff or anything. It's pretty standard. A lot of these old school guys, when they wrestle, they would not use any move that you would not use in an actual fight.
Yeah.
They kept it believable. In a real fight, you're not doing hurricanranas and flying head scissors. I know I'm not. I'm getting my ass kicked is what I'm doing in a fight. But so it's more old school stuff and everything. But I think Blue Demon, maybe being a little younger, I think he might have been just had a flashier wrestling style. I think El Santo was the better personality. I mean, for whatever reason, he just had that it factor. But Blue Demon was respectable. He made about 25 movies.
Didn't he have there was a TV show about him, but he wasn't in it, right?
No.
Do I have that right?
No, he was
biographical.
He was gone, but it was I was looking that up too, and it's not available to stream right now, or at least
too bad.
Not on the sources I looked at. I might be able to find it. I thought he did was it only 21? I thought he did 40.
Oh, maybe. Some of the more popular ones had Santo in them. And there was a little bit of an actual rivalry between the two of them. I remember watching, I think it was the
you're right,
Strange film show where they interviewed Blue Demon, and there was still a little bit of, well, of course, when I wrestled Santo, I won 2 out of 3. I mean, there's some pride there. Wrestling's a weird business where, I don't think I'm speaking out of school here, but the matches are fixed. But that doesn't mean the guys who are doing it don't take pride in their work and believe what they're doing.
There's an art to it. It's not just there's a real art to it.
Yeah.
I want to see. It says Blue Demon was in 3 movies where he was the leader of a squadron of masked superheroes known as Los Campeones Los Campeones Justiceros, the champions of justice.
Champions of chairs. Yes.
It's like the Justice League.
Yeah.
No.
Meanwhile, in the Hall of Justice.
I don't
Blue
see
Demon.
that. Just,
Say that again with the mask on. That's hilarious with the mask on.
All right, so here's Dracula and the Wolfman. Now the Wolfman's got a a jazzy shirt. I
He got
don't
his
think
Luke Cage. He's got his
He
1970s
does
Luke
have his
Cage
Luke Cage
outfit.
shirt on.
Silk.
And there's
Hey,
many
Dracula's pretty dapper.
Yeah, but he looked like a very gothic Dracula, even complete.
He looks like Frank Langella.
It's weird how he woke up with the current hairstyle with the sideburns and everything.
It never goes out of style.
There's a couple times when you can see that they didn't paint, like this area of the Wolfman. I was like,
that's enough. He looks. I don't know if you've seen this, but they're actually down in Mexico. There were these two twin brothers who were born where the hair grew all over their face.
Yeah,
they look exactly like that. They became circus guys.
Dog face boy.
Yeah. I mean, that's really what it's going for. It doesn't look much like a wolf. I just want to say that bottom picture, Dracula, like many vampires, not the sharpest tool in the shed. Mm-hmm. If you're a vampire, why would you have a pit of stakes? I mean, it's literally one of the things that kills you.
Yeah, that was on his property.
Why wouldn't you change into that fake bat that was flying?
Oh my God, that was.
No, that too.
You gotta have your fake bat running around. All right.
Well, the guy that played Dracula, just a second, Doc. The guy that played Dracula, Aldo Monti, actually, I believe, directed a couple of Santo movies and played Dracula in, I think, 3 different ones. Well, The Vengeance of the Vampire Women was one of them, and then Santo and the Treasure of Dracula. But he was in a movie we did on Classic here called El Libro de Piedra, the Book of Stone, which was a standard sort of classic, ghost story, witch story, Chad. So we knew about him and saw that he was in these Santo movies a couple of months ago, I think, when we did that. So it was interesting to see him here in this role.
Yeah.
As a Studley vampire.
He did play Dracula and Santo in the Treasure of Dracula from 1969.
Which I guess is what that guy was going after, Dracula's treasure. Like he thought Dracula was just going to hand it over to him.
Yeah.
Fool.
Well, I wondered if this was a
stupid.
I wondered if this was a sequel because it opens up with talking about how they vanquished him, but I don't see that. I need to look up that character because I'm sure that's in another movie. The
Cristaldi.
What's it?
There is one with
Professor
him versus
Cristaldi,
Dr. Frank.
Yeah. The great Cristaldi. You can make a car disappear and make it come back.
You're all crazy. All right.
Eric.
We got Eric and we got the bat. That was fun.
Spitting out lighter fluid.
That was amazing. And it always had music and always caught everybody's attention.
Well, yeah. He's standing right in front of it. You got to watch out.
And Eric has done so many evil things that he's no longer human.
Yeah.
He was hilarious.
He was great. Yeah.
With the very obvious Halloween makeup scar on his forehead. Oh my God, it was hilarious.
What killed me about those bats was every time somebody's standing in front of them, the bats shoot fire. Everybody turns around and looks at the bats. It reminded me of what was that, The Water Boy, where every time she would say, "Oh, I got a headache," the mule would scream in the back.
Yeah. Frau Blucher, yeah.
This guy's got 127 credits.
Of course he's great.
Goodness.
Look at him. He's
what else? What else do you do?
Well, he did the reissue of the Alfred Hitchcock Presents in 1985. He was in one of those.
Oh wow!
Other than that, the vast majority are Spanish titles.
I would imagine.
Yeah, he's great, and he is the only reason why this stupid knife. I mean, throughout this whole movie, they keep this knife. Oh my God! Dracula goes into the room and he's about to do something, but he looks at the knife and he runs. It's like and you're like, wow, this knife is really going to come into play in the climax. And no, not really, except that it turns on Eric here, and that was kind of cool. But other than that, it had no purpose.
He was in one of the Santo. He's in a couple Santo movies. Santo in the Hotel of Death, which is a great title.
I've been there. It was for a convention. It was terrible.
Santo in the Hotel of Death. And then he was in Santo versus the Vampire Women. We mentioned that.
Oh, good one.
Something called The Witch's Mirror. That sounds good. El Mundo de los Vampiros. That sounds.
World of the Vampires. Yeah. I think I've seen that.
So there's some fun ones in here. All right, non-stop wrestling.
Yeah, the opening and closing act is this is great because they're telling, oh, they've sold out the stadium. There must be 100,000 people here, all wearing blue, so they just look like a blue backdrop.
I know you never
points of light.
I was so disappointed by that.
Yeah.
That's why at the beginning I didn't know what to think because it's just, it opens with like the thing at the bottom, right? It opens with them fighting and it's like, I'm not engaged at all because, I'm not a wrestling fan. I'm not a wrestling fan, but I'm not a wrestling fan. And I was just like, oh man. And, it didn't have any people. It was like straight on for the entire time and really, really bad dialogue. Yeah. But by the second one, because there's three of them, right? And by the second one, I'm like, okay, I get what this is now, and it was much better. And then they have the both of them fighting at the end. So
hey Doc, how bad did you feel when in the first one he pins the guy and you're like, oh thank God that's over? Like this is a 2 out of 3 falls match. You're like, oh God, we got to go through another 2 falls.
Of course, he's got to lose the second one, so we get a 3 one.
Of course, yeah.
The Chad, he was also in Macario. Eric, sorry, I'm still looking.
Really?
You're still looking at it. Macario.
Uncredited, so he must have been one of the peasants or something. But
and this one you titled "Riveting Action."
Yeah,
that's because they're playing chess. And then what's happening at the bottom one? Is they're just like standing?
He's just enjoying the buffet or chatting up some pretty ladies as he does.
He does do that.
When they're playing chess, Santo says something like. You stay here and keep watch, but don't ask me what to watch for because I don't know. And then Blue Demon says something like, well, I already know that if you say more than 10 words, you're really worried. Yes, that's true.
Oh, you know me so well, old friend.
More than 10 words. You got to listen.
Such great dialogue.
Special effects. This is straight out of a Hammer film.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Pretty bloody, and come on, listen. Tell you the truth, the reverse dissolve from the skeleton to Dracula was not a whole lot worse than what everybody else does.
So help me out here with this skeleton.
Yeah,
he's backwards.
It looks like there's shoulder blades on the front.
Listen, you know what? They killed him by twisting his head around, like The Exorcist,
and his clavicles. So.
You're gonna question that. And he comes back in full costume.
Yeah,
honestly,
yes.
How does that even happen? I mean, I think everyone knows what a skeleton's supposed to look like. How do you do that? Unless the ribs were so badly damaged. Maybe it was a busted up model from something else.
Maybe that's what vampire anatomy is supposed to be.
Yeah, maybe they're trying to like make it look odd. I don't know. But
it works.
It's something else.
Ouch.
It kind of reminds you of a Hammer film though, right?
Yeah.
Which one is that where the blood drips down? Is that
Prince of Darkness.
Dracula's risen from the grave? No, Prince of Darkness.
Yeah. That's a great scene though. That's a great scene.
It is.
And it's right at the beginning and it never lives up to that. Anyway, I love that film though. But that's the best. Anyway. All right, where do we go with this? Because what do we talk about? Okay, so I will tell you they make a whole lot of more vampires and a whole lot more werewolves, and they're just like everywhere. It's like they're like ants. They're everywhere. That killed me to have all these people in werewolf masks running around. It was so much fun.
So I have a question. If anybody's wrestling fans there, why is it that they can only hit with their right hand? They run around these bad guys and sort of grab them with the left arm and then come across with the and it's always the right arm. You'd think the right arm would be like bigger.
Yeah.
Like Popeye. Popeye.
I never noticed that.
Well, these guys did. Maybe they don't always, but in this one, they're just running around. And then you made some comment in the chat, Chad, about the sound effects.
Oh, the dubbing is what was killing me. I was laughing at every word they were saying. Some of the character voices just didn't fit.
Like the little girl.
Yeah. Oh my God, she was worse, almost as bad as Bob from Last House.
Oh my God.
Oh, we got
the closed captioning was even better.
The little servant guy.
Yeah.
That they find collapsed. He sees which one has he seen? Josephina walking away or something. He's got a voice like
the Frito.
Well, I just love the smacks. Those old smack.
Right, like a kettle drum being beaten. And then sometimes it would disappear, like during the fight when the girl goes running off and she goes to the phone. As soon as she picks up the phone, like all the background sound disappears. Like what happened? Did everybody stop?
That's
their
just
fight
good sound design.
Yeah.
Absolutely terrible.
The dialogue.
All right, so here's a question for you. If I come in as, I'm looking at this because Dracula and the Wolfman, and I want to see every Dracula and every Wolfman movie. What am I gonna think? What is that person going to walk away? Is this going to
not a lot of Wolfman? He it turns into a human almost immediately and stays that way for most of the movie.
Is that my Rufus?
Rufus.
Chaka Khan.
My loyal Rufus.
Is that my loyal Rufus?
And he comes popping up full werewolf with the nice shiny.
Yeah, with the nice shinies. Oh, there's a good voice. Scratches him behind the ear, gives him a sausage.
A sausage.
No.
Well,
if you want to see every Dracula and werewolf movie, you need to see this one. But
sure.
If you're looking for a horror movie,
there's no horror in this.
It's not.
It's more akin to the Batman 60s show. As far as campiness and that kind of thing.
That's a good way to put it. It's like if Matt Helm was a luchador and he had to fight Batman.
Or something. I mean, the monsters aren't there to be threatening at all or anything.
Matt Helm, right?
Yeah. Dean Martin fighting vampires. Yeah, I'd pay to see that.
In a luchador mask, even.
Yeah. Nobody knows it's Dean Martin.
Sometimes. Sorry.
Well, you mentioned the little girl when Josephina grabs her and takes her over to Dracula's, lair. Boy, she just swats her and throws her down on the floor.
Yeah, like a piece of garbage.
Yeah.
Well, but that.
Boom. That was great.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Chicken.
Occasionally there would be individual shots in this movie that were really well done. Like, I'm not going to say they look like they came right out of a Hammer movie, but they look like they were trying to make it look like it came out of a Hammer movie, like some good color in the background and, some decent composition and coloring and everything. And then other times it looked kind of lazy and hacked out, like when they're having the big fight scenes. It's just a bunch of guys taking turns, rolling around, getting punched, and
And which scenes do you like better? When they're just rolling around and getting punched, because it's so bizarre and stupid.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Well, I love it. Yeah. So, just to bring up what you said, Doc, because we did about doing one of these with Santos, because I had heard him talking about these movies, Santos Helen Jr. And we had it scheduled and had it lined up for him to join us for Santo and Blue Demon versus the monsters, but it didn't work out because that's timing is everything. So it didn't work out. So I'm sad that didn't happen too.
He spoke fondly of these films.
Sure,
spoke fondly of them. And matter of fact, if I remember, he said he had a mask.
Oh, really?
If I remember,
I wouldn't doubt it.
He loved Santa. Of course, he was the Black Saint,
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, it would have been a joy to have him on here.
Yeah. It's such a simple mask too. I mean, there's nothing flashy about Santo. He wears white tights and a silver mask. It has there's nothing special about it. I mean, some of the masks they wear are super elaborate. Mil Mascaras would come out wearing this crazy mask, pull it off, and there was an even crazier mask underneath it. He never wore the same one twice. Nuts. Santo didn't need that. He was what he was. It was stripped down. I think that was part of the charm, is that he really
there is a modern day a wrestler today that wears mask, and Tom Savini has designed a few of his masks, and I think he doesn't do exactly what you're talking about, but he wears different masks, and he's designed a couple masks.
Oh, cool.
Of course, he just designed the one for the
Black Phone.
Black Phone, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we talk about how he never took the mask off, but he had to take the mask off to fly. And for that reason, he would never fly with anybody from his wrestling team or crew or anything. He flew separately, incognito.
Wow.
Yeah. That's dedication.
Yeah. I just admire that.
All right, well, let's go ahead and wrap this one up. Give your recommendation for this film. Explain why somebody should see this, in your opinion. And I got to know your favorite scene. We got to do favorite scenes for this one. Okay. I want to know which scene really got, hit your funny bone, made you was ridiculous, or, I don't care. You tell me what it is. All right, Jeff.
These are just so much fun. And this is really, I mean, strangely enough, I ordered this after I watched it, and it came today, so it gave me time to watch it again before the show.
Oh, nice.
It's a really good transfer, at least of that one movie. There's 8 movies on there, and they go back to like 63, Santo and the Wax Museum. So anyway,
that's a good one.
And I just want to give a shout out. This one's for Scott Wells, who is the guy who brought it up before, said, please pick this movie so I can watch it again. And Scott has his own blog called Saturday Mad Theater that he called, how did he call that? Erratically appearing or something like that. Yeah. He did a podcast, Welcome Gruesome Magazine and Decades of Horror podcast, and talked about us reading his thing on the podcast, his comments. So
thanks, Scott.
Anyway, it's so shout out to Scott. This one's for you. Favorite scene? Well, they're
too many. Is there too many favorite scenes? How do you?
I'm gonna say when there is. I mean, like every time you open your mouth is a favorite scene. The dialogue was so screwed up. But I'm gonna say when Santo bursts through the window. That was actually kind of cool.
Oh yeah, okay.
It kind of surprised me. He's trying to get in the house, he can't get in. All of a sudden, he comes flying through the window, and you're like, he really did that. And I'm,
he did a stunt. Who do we do next? Is it? I think it's Mr. North Carolina too. Bill, what is your recommendation about this? And
look, you have to watch one of these in your life, and you may get hooked. This is not my favorite of them. I really do like the older black and white ones a lot, but it's fun. And my favorite scene, I think anything involving those bats. Because I think the first one, I was thinking, that's actually not as bad as some of the bats I've seen in Hammer. And then all of a sudden the next scene is like, oh, no, that is the worst bat I've ever seen. That's so kind of hit or miss. But yeah, you just go with it. These are fun. Don't overthink it.
I heard the good bat quit.
Yeah.
And so they had to bring in the bad bats because that's the only ones left.
Yeah.
It happens. He wasn't getting paid.
Like Rufus.
No, he wasn't getting paid enough. So
he
said, I'm just going to go to
never work with children or bats. That's what I say.
No, them bats, especially the rubber ones. Woof. Chancer.
Yes.
Give us your recommendation of this film and your favorite scene.
I highly recommend it. This is this is what we do when we do classic eras. We put ourselves in the time the movie was made and try to see it from that point of view. And that's sort of how I see these movies. They take me back to when this kind of entertainment was it was simple, fun, entertainment. There was nothing really complicated about it. You had good versus evil, monsters, you had everything like that. And it just had a sense of wonder to them. It didn't have to make perfect sense, everything that happens in here. But as a kid watching it, or a fan of these movies watches it, you're just filled with joy for it. I don't know. It's hard to explain why, but it's just a fun time.
Fun time. Do you have a favorite scene?
My favorite scene was the battle at the end.
No, you took my scene.
Maybe not. How the other werewolves will just turn into puddles of Cool Whip.
Yeah, Cool Whip.
It looked like
Steaming
poof
Cool
like
Whip.
that. Yeah, like that. That had me rolling. I was laughing at that. I thought that was hilarious.
Oh man, I was giddy from the time that battle started, and then by the time they were actually just finally battling just the Wolfman and Dracula, and then it just ended, and I went, "What?
Yeah,
what?"
Oh, and walking the plank and
walking back and forth, and then the little girl goes across, and then has to go back. He has to carry. Oh my God! And
he says, "Don't come across the bridge." What does she do?
She goes
across the bridge.
Oh my God! Yeah. And Dracula and the Wolfman are on the end going, "Ooh, let's get it going."
Yeah.
Oh God! It was so funny. We don't. All right, okay? As a horror fan, especially if you're a horror fan of the 60s and 70s, of the horror films from the 60s and 70s, you if you haven't experienced one of these, you need to do at least one. This is a fairly good one. I need to watch a couple more. And I will, those of us who have seen more than this one can recommend the one that might be the best introduction to them. But this was a great introduction for me, because I had no idea. I had very little idea of what I was in for. And it took a while to warm up, but it wasn't a long while. I mean, it was by the middle of the movie, if not sooner. I was like, okay. By the time they had that second battle in the middle, I'm like, okay, I get it. The second wrestling scene. Because there's a wrestling scene at the beginning, in the middle, and toward the end, right? So I don't know. You got to watch one. You've got to experience this. You need to know. I mean,
they're hard to describe.
You may not like it. You may not like it, and you may go, "Why did I waste an hour and a half of my time?" But at the same time, you're going like, "Well, you'll feel like you accomplished something. you marked something off."
Hey, if you need an escape, and and I think this one was on Tubi, and I think the other one's on this box set.
Yeah, they're on there.
I think they're all on Tubi. Yeah.
So I'm going to have to put another one on the list. We'll do other ones here. I still like, the Spanish ones more, but Spanish Wolfman's more than. But at the same time, I kind of wish they were still making them. I wish we had. Like I said, I wish they were doing them with a modern budget and doing all crazy things, and we had luchador personalities that we can't wait to see who would show up behind curtain number one. It'd just be so much fun. Favorite scene, if it's not when they battle, it's when they first get resurrected, and just like you said, they like many Dracula movies, starts out a skeleton, a little smoke, a little blood, and skin comes back, and poof, he's got all his clothes back. It's always great. I mean, you can't have a naked Dracula popping out.
Oh God, no.
Without Andy Warhol involved. And then the Wolfman with his. I kind of love this version of the Wolfman. It's not a good one, but it is. It's more like the groovy ghouly Wolfman.
Yeah, it is.
That's the same.
Yeah.
It's slightly different color. Anyway, so yeah, find some time and watch one of these. You won't hate it.
You won't. We promise.
Cross our hearts.
You might even grow an appreciation for them.
And you'll be like, oh my gosh, there's 50 more of these I can watch. Yay!
Oh no!
So
That's what,
Each one more different than the next.
Chad, are you
Yeah.
familiar with the Batman comics where they were in?
Batman
There was
66.
a trivia that says they were in a brief cameo in the Batman 66
Yeah, that was like
comic
1966,
series.
based on the TV show. Yeah, they were.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was in the past
Yeah.
year or two. Yeah.
Yeah.
Help Batman to defeat Bane, who was an evil luchador.
hmm
Oh, well, that's perfect. That's perfect.
Yeah, it is.
All right. There you go. It's on Tubi. Check it out. Let us know what you think down below. You can yell at us if you're saying, why? But let us know if you did enjoy it and if you became a fan. I want to know how many people become a fan of Santo. All right. Well, Jeff, sir, what is our next movie? And who picked it? I want to know who picked it.
The Honorable Mr. North Carolina II picked Star Crash for our next movie, starring Carolyn Monroe, Christopher Plummer, David Hasselhoff, Joe Spinell,
Joe Spinell.
What did we do to you?
and directed by
Hey.
Luigi Cozzi.
Yeah, it's got stop motion animation.
And
got
it's a
Carolyn
friend of, he's
Monroe.
a friend of Mario Bava's too. So
Yeah.
Mm.
It's
Notice
got
I did
great
not
dialogue.
mention Marjo Gortner.
You didn't mention Marjo Gortner.
Marjo Gordner.
I did
yeah.
not mention Marjo Gortner.
And it influenced Star Wars 2 years after it was made.
That's right. No easy trick, that.
That's not. Oh my God, that movie.
Oh,
this,
boy.
This won't be the first time I've seen that one. It might be the last. And that was Bill's pick, right?
Yep, sure was.
That is Bill's pick.
You did that, Mr. North Carolina.
That's right.
It's all on the spreadsheet.
It's all on this.
It's all on the spreadsheet. You can tell who picked what movie from the spreadsheet. Just who
Yeah.
to blame it on. Yeah.
You do see patterns emerge.
Yeah.
Yeah. If it's Peter Cushing, I'm guilty.
If it's street trash, I'm guilty.
There you go.
That's true. That's true.
If it's Star Crash, I'm guilty.
And Santo, it's
Or Cannibal
Jeff Mohr.
Holocaust. Or
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know, one thing we kind of do every time we introduce Chad, but we also have the classic era where we do up through 1969, up through and including 1969. And Jeff, Chad, you're a part of that. And then we also do the 80s, which Jeff and Bill, you're a part of that as well. And Chad?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And and I think Crystal's with you on the 80s. And
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
And who all's on because you guys have a large cast at times on the classic era.
Daphne from Classic Era is on there. Whitney is on there. Well, they wouldn't know him from anywhere else, but
Well, we went through a series.
We had Joseph
where
Perry
we
on
had
there.
guest
that's right.
listeners for about 6
yeah,
months.
that's true. Yeah, true.
A lot of fun stuff. So I guess we're encouraging you to check it out.
We have fun.
Yeah.
We do. And I feel bad, Bill. We didn't invite you, but we just recorded Kill Baby Kill on Sunday.
Great
It
movie.
didn't hit
Great
me
movie,
until
though.
we were hooking up. So
I
plus I didn't know if you were
I didn't
back yet.
know. No, I was traveling Sunday night, so
Okay.
you're fine. You're forgiven. You are forgiven.
It's my
Welcome
new
to-
favorite movie.
It's a
Welcome
great
to
movie.
DOH behind the scenes. All right, guys. Jeff,
Oh.
Chad,
We're still recording.
Bill, yes. Thank you for joining me. This was a lot of fun. Ha!
Yes, I
I'm-
thought so.
No cadoos. No cadoos. All right. Kudos.
Something happened in here.
I know. Let's say goodnight before we embarrass ourselves.
Yeah. Good night, folks.
Night, everybody.